Oh boy, we have a lot to talk about this time. Now, originally I wanted to make a video on how I was able to master Mina without using any of her gadgets or star powers, but then I started hearing players say how Mina is insanely broken. Unless you've never used or encountered Mina before, you already know why many players might have a problem with her. So with that said, I'm going to go over if Mina really is broken, as well as which modes to consider using her in if you ever want to. By the time this video is up, it's possible that Mina has already received nerfs, but I hope the rest of the video is useful. Anyways, Mina is considered a damage dealer, and to my surprise, she's a really good one, or might I say currently one of the best ones. You see, she has 3 types of attack that vary in damage and range, and that also reset after a second has gone by. But this may not seem special. Once you notice her DPS when fighting other brawlers, then it starts to become a problem. It is honestly insane how much damage you can do, and that's not even mentioning her super, which I know many players have an issue with, which I'll get to in a minute. Apart from her attack, she also gets a small boost in whichever direction she is running, and while it may not seem impressive at first, it does allow for some unique strategies. With all that said, you might be thinking if she is any good on, say, heist. I mean, after all, any brawler that could do this much damage would absolutely clap there, right? Well, not really. It's more of a 50-50 chance that really depends on the loadout you have and map you're playing on. In this match, I decided to unlock and use her gadget Windmill, which creates a small barrier that stops any incoming projectiles for 3 seconds. Now, something like this sounds like it would be incredible on heist, but in all honesty, it's not that effective since most brawlers that you'll encounter don't use projectiles. It's also made worse when you realize that enemy brawlers can walk through it, which means if you're being chased around and decide to use it, there's a chance they still might be able to hit you. As many of you know, I typically don't play defense on heist, but Mina sort of forced me in a way mainly because of this gadget, and while I did seem to be doing better, her attack speed just couldn't cut it. For this reason, I decided to buy her star power Blown Away, which simply freezes a brawler for a second and a half when you use your super on them. This did seem to help a bit more, but what made her even better to use was her Capo Wood gadget, which fully charges your super after you hit a brawler with it. This was by far more useful than her other gadget here, and I ended up winning more matches than before. Now, as far as other modes, she does really good on Gem Grab, which may not be a surprise. Along with her damage, the small boost that she gets can make a big difference, that along with her super as well. There isn't really much to talk about her here though. Once again, if you find yourself struggling in any way, I highly suggest using this loadout, or at the very least just buying the gadget. Moving along, I also tried using her on Knockout, and once again, she does fairly good here. However, I do want to mention that you might find yourself dodging a lot more than doing damage, at least depending on the map. If you happen to have watched my video on Natalie, I said something along the lines of using her as a distraction, and you might be able to use Mina in a similar fashion. It may also help if you have her Windmill gadget to block damage and close the distance on a brawler. Finally, I decided to try her out on Hot Zone, and I'd say she does fairly well here, though it did feel like I was playing heist all over again because sometimes you might win while other times you might not. At first, this match was going badly for us because their Mortis and Poca were just spreading our cheeks like nothing, but we managed to get the upper hand when we decided to attack from the sides instead of the center. And that's the thing that many players forget, because if you're attacking from one side or using one strategy and lose, you might consider that brawler difficult to use for that mode. I almost felt the same way for Mina on heist until I got a better loadout and started practicing on what my role should be in the team. It may not always work, but at least it's better than giving up. So my overall thoughts on Mina is that she is definitely OP when it comes to damage, especially when using the loadout I showed, but she also has some faults and limitations that don't make her dominate every mode. But let me know what you guys think about her in the comments. Anyways, have a good day.